to the Virgo Potens YouTube channel. If you enjoy this video, I invite you to visit the Virgo Potens website at virgopotens.org. Virgo Potens has articles, traditional Latin Mass resources, transcribed sermons, prayers in English and Latin, narrated videos of the Dolorous Passion of our Lord Jesus Christ by Blessed Anne Catherine Emmerich, and a spiritual warfare page. I offer the content on the website and YouTube channel for free, but this work is a full-time apostolate, and your support is needed. Please prayerfully consider supporting my work by praying for me, becoming a patron of Virgo Potens on Patreon, and/or by purchasing one of my ebooks. If you'd prefer to give me a one-time contribution, I suggest that you do so by buying one of my ebooks. Links to my ebooks, as well as to Patreon, can be found at virgopotens.org. May the Virgin Most Powerful guide and protect you. The Purification of the Blessed Virgin by Saint Bonaventure. The following text comes from chapters 10 to 11 of the Life of Christ by Saint Bonaventure, narrated by Tony Capo Bianco. The Life of Christ by Saint Bonaventure is in the public domain. All of the pictures used in this video are also in the public domain. Chapter 10. Of the delay of the Blessed Virgin at the manger. When the wise men had been dismissed and had left for their own country, and their offerings had been disposed of, the mother and the child Jesus and the venerable foster father still remained at the manger, waiting in that confined place patiently till the 40th day, as if she had been an ordinary mother, and the boy Jesus had not been different from any other, and needed to observe the law. And because they did not wish to be singular or to claim a dispensation, they submitted to the law, as others did. How many act in an opposite way, who, although they have nothing to distinguish them from everyone else, claim for themselves special privileges, and love to have them, that they may be regarded with some peculiar honor, but true humility will not admit of such conduct as this. Therefore the Blessed Mother, after the manner of others, awaited the appointed day for her purification, when she should enter into the temple. She remained vigilant, and giving her whole attention to her dear Son. O God, with what solicitude and carefulness did she tend him, lest any, the least injury should affect him! With what reverence, caution, and timorous care did she handle him, whom she knew to be her God and her Lord, falling on her knees when she took him from the manger, or placed him in it! With what pleasure, confidence, and maternal dignity did she embrace him, kiss him, sweetly press him, and delight in him, whom she knew to be her Son! How often did she regard him with a curious gaze, his face, and then the different members of his most sacred body! How gravely and carefully she used to bind his tender limbs! For, as she was most humble, so was she most prudent. Wherefore, in all the offices and services she rendered him, she exercised the greatest care, both when he was awake or asleep, when he was an infant, and as he grew up. Oh, how joyously did she suckle him! It cannot be supposed that she felt no more pleasure than an ordinary mother when she gave him her breast. And Saint Bernard would have us believe that Saint Joseph used often to take the child Jesus on his knees, lovingly smiling at him. Let us then remain with the Blessed Virgin at the manger, and delight ourselves again and again with the child Jesus, for virtue goes out from him. Every faithful soul, and especially every religious person, ought, from Christmas Day to the Purification at least once a day, to visit in spirit that manger, in company with the Blessed Mother, to adore the child Jesus, and meditate affectionately on the poverty, humility, and goodness both of Jesus and of her. Chapter 11. Concerning the Purification of the Blessed Virgin. The 40th day having arrived, as prescribed by the law, the Blessed Mother with the child Jesus and Saint Joseph went from Bethlehem to Jerusalem, a distance of 5 or 6 miles, in order to present the child to the Lord, according to the law. Go thou with them, and in spirit help to carry the child. Be present and regard attentively everything that takes place, every word and act, for it is a mystery of sublime devotion. They bring, then, the Lord of the temple to the temple of the Lord. When they entered the temple court, they bought a pair of turtle doves or 2 young pigeons to offer for him, the customary offering for the poor. But as they were very poor, it is more likely that the pigeons were their only offering, being of less price than the doves, and therefore mentioned last in the law. And the evangelist makes no mention of the lamb, which was the offering of the rich. And behold, just Simeon came into the temple by the Spirit, that according to a promise he had received, he might see the Lord's Christ. Wherefore he came with haste into the temple to see him. And he knew him by the spirit of prophecy which was in him, and at once fell down before him, and adored him in his mother's arms. The infant, it may be, blessed him, and made gestures, implying that he desired to go to him, which, when his mother knew, though full of wonder, she delivered him to Simeon. But he joyfully and reverently took him up in his arms, and arose and blessed God, saying, Lord, now lettest thou thy servant depart in peace, etc. He also prophesied concerning his passion, and Anna, a prophetess, likewise came in at that instant, and worshipping him, spoke many things of him. But Mary, wondering at these things, hid them all in her heart. Then the child Jesus, stretching forth his hands, returned to his mother. After this, they go to the altar, making a procession, a commemoration of which is made in the church on this day throughout the world. Those 2 venerable old men, Joseph and Simeon, led the way hand in hand, singing in a transport of joy the psalms. O give thanks unto the Lord, for he is gracious, and his mercy endureth forever. The Lord is righteous in all his ways, and holy in all his works. For this God is our God forever and ever. We wait for thy loving kindness, O God, in the midst of thy temple. They were followed by the royal mother, bearing Jesus in her arms, Anna accompanying her by her side. She filled with reverent joy, and pouring forth praises to the Lord beyond expression. Here the procession ended, but few formed it. But those few embrace all, for human life in all its phases is represented by them. Here are male and female, old men and young, virgins and widows. And when they had reached the altar, the mother knelt reverently and offered her dearest son to his father, saying, Receive, O most glorious Father, thy only begotten Son, whom, according to the commandment of thy law, I offer to you, because he is the firstborn of his mother. But I beseech thee, O Father, to restore him to me again. Then rising, she laid him upon the altar. O God, what an offering is this! Never had such been made from the beginning of time, nor ever shall be again. Consider every circumstance carefully. The boy Jesus is placed upon and remains on the altar as any other little child, and regards his mother and those around him with a steady gaze, humbly and patiently awaiting what further had to be done. The priests are then introduced into the temple, and the Lord of all things is redeemed like a slave for 5 shekels, the usual sum, the shekel being a small coin. When Joseph had paid this to the priest, the mother joyfully received back her son. Then Joseph gave her the aforesaid birds, that she might present them, and she, kneeling down and holding them in her hands, raised her eyes towards heaven and offered them, saying, Receive, O most merciful Father, this oblation, this small gift, the first which thy child today presents unto thee, of his extreme poverty. Then the child Jesus we may think of as stretching forth his hands towards the birds, and raising his eyes towards heaven, and though he did not speak, yet by his gestures seeming to unite with his mother in offering them, and so they placed them on the altar. You have seen then the dignity of those who make this offering, namely the mother and the son. Could then such an offering, although small, be rejected? God forbid, but rather may we imagine that it was borne up to the highest heaven by the hands of angels, and there presented and graciously accepted amid the joyful acclamations of the heavenly court. After this, the Holy Virgin departed from Jerusalem and paid a visit at the house of Elizabeth, as she desired to see John before she left those parts. Go again in spirit with her, and assist her in carrying the blessed child. When she had come to the house of Elizabeth, they had great joy in meeting each other, and especially in beholding the boys. And the children rejoiced together, and John, as if conscious of the dignity of Jesus, behaved with becoming reverence. You too receive John with respect, for he is great in the sight of the Lord, that you may perchance gain some blessing. And when they had remained some days, they departed and journeyed towards Nazareth. And here would you learn from all that has been said the lesson of lowliness and poverty. You can easily do so by dwelling upon the offering, the redemption of the child, and the strict observance of the laws. End of chapters 10 to 11 from the Life of Christ by St. Bonaventure. Narrated by Tony Capobianco. More narrated videos of the life of Christ can be found on the Virgo Potens YouTube channel under the Saints playlist.